Dr. Sriram, how do we judge, like if I want to join Triple E, is there any way to judge I am the right person to join, take up Triple E, not computer science? So is there any way of self-assessment that I'm choosing the right discipline when I join? Is there any way? I don't know. So I thought I'll just clarify with you based on your experience, the exposure to the industry as well as academia. Over to you, sir.
It's a very interesting question, and I'm sure that you talk to 100 people, you may get 100 different answers. So I'm not claiming by any means that my answer has more weight or importance. It is a perspective, let me put it that way. I have seen personally that for a human being to develop, it is healthy to have their interests evolve over the years, because we are constantly getting to know the world. And based on knowing the world in a broader and broader sense, we may find our interests also becoming broader and broader. But it so happens, because of the way professional careers are developed, the corporate world says either you take up some management where you can oversee a breadth of technologies, which is okay, or if you want to go in a particular direction, you specialize, and that is also okay, but you try to specialize and have a more specific and narrower focus. And I would say that for electrical engineers, there is a scope for both, because what I've seen, especially within the last 10 years, is that both in the US and in India, electrical engineers are known for having very good mathematics skills. And this is somewhat complex mathematics, because it involves advanced calculus. It involves going back and forth from time domain to frequency domain and different kinds of mathematical transforms and so on. So I see that as an area of great strength for them. I also feel that unfortunately a lot of Triple E graduates are not aware of their own strength in this matter. Because when I look at the situation in the US, I find that Triple E engineers are valued for this aspect. And so they are leveraged not just for direct application in power systems and electrical machines kinds of situations, but because their analytical skills are so good and they're able to switch back and forth from the time domain to the frequency domain, they are used for a lot of other things. So this is where, for example, in aeronautical engineering, aerospace engineering, you make use of both the time domain and the frequency domain. And so I find that NASA, JPL, there are Berkeley, Lawrence Berkeley labs and so on, they really value electrical engineers for this reason. And the interesting thing is that in the US especially, you find that somebody who's got an undergraduate degree in Triple E goes on to do a master's and a PhD in mathematics. And they're greatly valued for that. But it is applied mathematics, it's not theoretical mathematics. And so this foundation of the engineering plus advanced mathematical and analytical abilities have great value in the industry. It is not just for R&D, mind you, it is actually for troubleshooting and systems level analysis. So for example, there is this exciting field of vibration analysis and structural health monitoring, where it could be either a mechanical engineer or a Triple E graduate. If they pick up the advanced mathematics, they could do wonders. It is like saying, I will subject any apparatus to vibrations, and with that I am going to figure out whether that structure is healthy or not. It is like the way we do ultrasound and other tests for the human body. Okay. Like that, you actually can determine the health of a structure using various techniques. And I find that the Triple E students are actually well equipped for things like that. So it's just that they should think a little bit out of the box and realize the potential they have because of their mathematical skills.
Absolutely. Dr. Sriram, now coming back to looking at the future opportunities of higher studies with EEE background, yes. What are the specialization that Triple E electrical electronics students could take over for their MS or higher studies?
Sure. That again, there's a lot of opportunities now, because like I mentioned, the world is moving towards Industry 4.0. And so there is an opportunity for them to go towards the soft side, which is the Internet of Things and blockchain and so on, machine learning, deep learning. Or they could continue with the hardware side, where they have the power systems, they have the electrical machines and so on. They could look at the integration where they have the embedded systems. They could look at the systems level in terms of planning smart grids and smart cities and so on, where there is a nice aspect of the architecture part of it, the technology part of it, and the communications part of it. These three come together very nicely there. And so an electrical engineer would be primely positioned for such things. Apart from that, if they want to think a little bit outside the box, certainly as I mentioned, if you picked up a lot of mathematics, advanced mathematics there, you're going to have McKinsey and Goldman Sachs and all these people knocking at your door, because they value, even though you might be moving away from the core engineering, they greatly value you for these kinds of analytical skills.
Dr. Sriram, as I look at it, that in the next maybe 10 years' time, almost about 45 to 50% of the current jobs could vanish. But that's a sad news and a bad news. But there'll be new opportunities which will be erupting. That's the good news. You will find most of the jobs being taken over by the robots. And that's going to happen. That's happening actually, not just going to happen. Under these circumstances of robots taking over the jobs, what would be the opportunities for EEE? Should they fear about it, or electrician's job can be taken over by a robot? I'm just giving an example. So will it happen? I mean, there will be jobs for our EEE, right? Is that what I'm trying to ask you?
Yeah, actually, it is possibly a misrepresentation that an electrical and electronics engineer would be an electrician. They are not. They are far from it. So so what I would say is keep the two in mind. That there is the electronics part, and so a EEE graduate actually is primarily positioned, and even during their 4 years, they work on robotic systems as well. So the future, if you look at some of the exciting trends that are coming up, there is the wireless power transfer.
All right, okay. Wireless power transfer.
So this is very exciting, and electrical engineers are the best for this, because any kind of power systems, any kind of energy storage, they are primarily positioned for this. So wireless power transfer is an exciting thing where they can get in. There is also electrical vehicles, and for this you need this, and this is very core because no other discipline can get into this. Then there is also wearable technologies. Now wearable technologies, there again you're going to have Wi-Fi, and you're going to have wireless, you're going to have 5Gs and so on. So all these, again, it's the domain of the electrical engineer, but they need to also know the communications aspect and the software aspect as well, which they are learning. Then there is also the smart grids and the smart cities. There is the blockchain, and so I think the future is very exciting.